I'll be sharing my screen. Try the window. Okay, kitaon. Kitaon na siya.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, amo na ito niya, no? Start with the basic naman about computers. And our discussion outline will be the following. So, about the history of the computers, the definition of describing a computer system, classification of different computer categories. We will also identify the types of computer software, define communication networks and its features, and also identify computers and technology in our daily lives. So, a few vocabulary that will be familiarized with, but I'm sure some of you already know these terms. We have the clients, the computer data, now the desktop computer, electronic communication, embedded computer, external hardware, icon, information about the internet, intranet, mobile devices, network nodes, PCs or the personal computer, servers, software, and the supercomputer. So by its basic definition, a computer is a machine that can be programmed to carry out sequences of arithmetic or logical operations automatically. And it is considered as one of the most important inventions of the 20th century and has become a prevalent icon or item throughout our society. It has all became a necessity na gitsubong by basically by seeing it almost everywhere na from our cell phones that we have smartphones no, with the cameras up to computerized components for automobiles and also to our ATM machines. So almost everything na electronic in nature or electronic devices that we use today are basically originated from computers, from the development of computers. So these computers also help us learn about health and medicine, space and time, matter and energy, of course, and just these are just a few of the topics na cover niya, which basically limitless can be said that the use of this computer is limitless as per a person's imagination. So a brief history of this computer. It was developed in the late 1940s and early 1950s and were initially designed for military and governmental use. So initially it was the U.S. Department of Defense that made this electronic device, no, that developed it. Basically initial use again is for military and governmental use na agad for for defense for ilang sa government na agad nga no features na lang. But later on, since na-develop na gid siya for commercial use by a few of the iconic persons na sa history sa aton nga computer. So one of which is Dr. Ted Hoff, which at the time worked for Intel, wherein he developed the microprocessor technology in 1971. So using it the same technology na develop ang aton yung first nga Apple computer by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. And in 1980, also another icon in the computer industry is Bill Gates, wherein he worked with IBM to develop the disk operating system or the DOS for the IBM PC, for the first IBM PC. Then way back now for the definition of computer, we have four process which we call this as the information processing cycle. So we start with receiving data for input, then we process it for the processing step, and then we store it, the data, and then we produce an output. as a result. So what we have as instructions or programs to control the computer to execute our needed documents, we use the software. And uh, not only that we give out the program, but we also use the hardware side, which is the physical parts of the system, to process these programs and also to produce an output. So it processes data and produces information, and we call it the information processing cycle. So in this example, we have the input of data, which is the address of John Smith, and other information entered through our communication devices, no, for input and processing. Then it is placed inside the system unit, no, which will define later on. This is the one that processes data and also stores data and information to our hard drive or any other storing devices, and it will produce an output. So in this example, it is the printed output or via a printer, wherein the same information of John Smith entered through the computer was produced as a printed output. So some of the benefits, of course, of the computer, wherein we all ano gino, na ginansyan ginaton or nagana ginaton from the development of the computer halin sa una sa subong is this list for di ni tanan nga amo lang ni nakuha naton. Basically we have specific benefits sa aton nga the use of our computers. So some are increasing the productivity, so storing massive amounts of information and at the same time reducing waste in a way that imbes nga mag-print ka na lang sa paper na output, no, you can just put in soft copy. The term natin is soft copy input sa computer, kag dito na lang natin i-access. So without ever printing na sa isa ka copy, we will print out a specific paper gid, but we just store it in digital copy so we can access it at any time. And also the basic benefit connects you to the internet and also helps sort, organize, and search for information. So in case that you are carrying a book, no, ng mga libro niyo, for example, you just have digital notes wherein you can easily sort, organize, and basically search through information. Like example, in a Word document, you can just use the search function to search for specific keywords that you would need to use. Though unlike sa old school nga sa libro gid na you'll just to browse through each book, and maybe you'll use the glossary or the other parts na sa book para nga mag-search. So kung sa digital nga copy, we'll just use the search function for the document to browse through your needed information. So to keep you connected, basically pareho man sa internet naton, we have also our mobile devices that we can easily access our contact our friends, no, or relatives, and also to connect to our social media networks. And also the benefit is to get a better understanding of data, wherein from the basic raw data ng sa processing, we get to have our desired output get through example be printed document or digital copy of a certain output, or example write up or article. So we get a better understanding of what this data is. So also getting you to help you learn and being informed in a way that we can easily access news sites and other uh, let's say research articles that we can search on and read, or you can use as reference to your studies. And of course you can earn money, basically sa copy benefits being a programmer per se, or just example you are a freelance lighter or freelance web developer that is also being familiar with the computer software and getting na master magin siya. In the same way you can be hired by clients online, so mga online nga mga online jobs wherein you can get to benefit to uh, use your skill for for income. Then, but we have also several disadvantages for having computer in our lives. Isa gining example ng health risk nato for too much sitting gid sa aton nga tubang sa computer. At the same time, we should also balance gid na like in the same mga example bi karon after mga pila ka minutes or hindi siguro manggilabot oras, we should stand up or rest our eyes or stretching na for for our body nga ma-balance na gid naton. So we would also avoid this eye strains and carpal tunnel. No? Carpal tunnel is mouse nyo. So constant nga gamit sa mouse nga without the proper posture, then it will result sa carpal tunnel sa inyong wrist. And another disadvantage also is the short attention span and too much multitasking. So ako sa personal ko lang is medyo I'm more of a multitasking person gid, pero amo ginang isa ka disadvantage kay hindi ka you cannot focus on one topic, no? Or for example, you're looking around nga mag-attend ka sa isa ka Zoom or man pa rin sa class naton. At the same time, you're also reading your notes or other nga you're watching a movie, for example. So in the same way, though too much access man sa computer sa mga mo nga information can result into attention span naton nga madula gid. And at the same way, hindi ta maging productive sa aton nga sa isa naton ka task ni or sa isa naton ka session ni. And one also major man din consider is major disadvantage ni is the loss of privacy because of too much na gid nga like na computerized na gid tanan naton nga mga data. For example, we'll have our information, no? Ang basic lang gid example guro ang sa mga Facebook naton, mga social media accounts naton. We have the risk also of having our personal information stolen or magamit sa mga dubious nga mga transactions. So amo ginang pwede gid naton ma-practice later on ang aton nga data privacy nga we should be wary of what we share or how we share our personal information online, especially sa aton nga social media accounts. And the next disadvantage is can limit learning and create a dependency. For its basic term, nagaro dependent kay kita sa computer, so it is a disadvantage at the same time that you create na gid nga health risk ka na later on because of too much usage of the computer. And of course, this is time sink, a lot of distraction. The same way sa multitasking natin will cause short attention span and distractions as we go along with our task. And can reduce jobs in a way that computerized ng mga bago sila nga computerized introducing jobs is given na for example bisa isa ka factory, no, there are may isa na ka line nga actual people gid nga obra, but then later on the company be decided that that line will be replaced by a computerized na lang na program nila or program. So at the same way ang mga tao nga to mawad-an na gid sila obra kay amo na tong impapos na sa company amo to nga production line nga inhimo na lang nga program na lang ang pag-produce ng output sa amo to nga line instead of actual persons that will be doing those jobs. So isa gyud naka medyo disadvantage naton. And of course our aton nga electronic waste ng tawag naton, increasing waste and impacts the environment. Given that we also have mga junk yards, no, for our electronic waste, for example be mga use naton yung mga monitors, mga PC naton, yung mga daan na wala nang ginagamit or mga outdated na mga parts, mga hardware, they usually throw it sa mga junk shops, but may effect man siya nga in a way that our waste output is also increased because nga outdated na ng hardware, there is no other way that it can be used but for computer again for its main function gid kay ano na siya, outdated na siya. So we go now with classifying computers. There are two classifications na, no, for its uses. So these are the special purpose computers and the general purpose computers. So special purpose computers are used to control other objects, telephones, appliances, and scientific experiments. So emphasis gini sa scientific experiments. So if ever isa ka laboratory mag-obra sang ilagid nga experiment nga needed ginila for ilang nga ano no sa research nila. So they would usually use special purpose computer to do those specific functions nga needed nila for their output nga for their desired research output. And for general purpose computers, no, these are based on size, function, cost, and performance. And usually among yung mga familiar natin sa bong desktop computer or mobile phones, the mobile computers. We also have the mid-range computers, mainframe, and the supercomputers or the huge database that big companies use. So a visualization of what these types of computer for general purpose computers na the mobile phones. We have this example atong intermec ning model and the desktop. Now this is an old school desktop with a CRT monitor, a basic I/O keyboard and mouse, and a monitoring system unit naton who still uses two floppy disk. This is CD-ROM and this one is a 3.5 floppy disk. And ambat lang ko na ni. And we also have mid-range computers. These are used by medium to large companies for their data storage, their information. No? So mga banks usually have this type of computers. And then we have mainframe computer. One of these examples is one produced by IBM. This mainframe computer has similarity with the supercomputer, but that difference lang is more on sa data capacity and processing speed nila. So mostly ang supercomputer is as much better in hard disk nga no, sa ilang this storage capacity and processing speed. And for the computer softwares, we have the two basic types, application software and system software. These are divide sa by columns. Sa left side are your examples of your system software. This Windows 10, Windows XP, Apple, Linux, Android. And the right side are for your application software. This is Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint. This is Outlook or ano siya man. This is Gmail, Netflix, no, Google Docs, PDF file, PDF reader. This is for sa email natin sa Windows 10 na siya. This is Google Drive, the 3D Paint on the Audacity music player. So we go now with communications and networks. No basic of the term of what electronic communications are. So it uses communication for the computers to interact with each other and also with other devices. So it is defined as the data communications carried over both wired and wireless system. So the establishment of the ARPANET amoning nagsugod sa aton starts on using of processing of the electronic communications. So we use the four components for communicating electronically. So we have the sender, the receiver, the channel, and protocol. So in this mini graph natin flow chart natin is the left side is the information source wherein we get our data stream. as we go to the transmitter, no, then the transmitter processes to the channel by using the transmitted signal. Then we also have the noise source wherein not all of the transmitted signal is being channeled through to the receiver, as the noise is a way that intercedes with the communication signal. And then after the receiver gets the signal, we call it the received signal, it is then processed to the information destination via a recovered stream. So the four components starts with the sender, receiver, then the channel, and the protocol. So we call two or more computer systems that link together as a network. So networks can be either starting from just two basic computers, or a whole building of computer that are interlinked to each other. So what we call these, the computers connected to a network, are called clients or nodes. And these servers, we use also servers to allocate resources so that each of these computers can communicate in let's say real time or in a definite matter. So an example of the connecting users not to various communication devices. So you can see in this part, this is basically what our system unit function, or with function, but also using output and input devices. So you can see here in the upper left na nga monitor nga monitor output. This is also connected to the system unit. And then several examples are printers, beer fax machines, so FISB, no? We use this as our output devices or output communication devices. And then we also have laptops and mobile phones which connect to the system unit. Maybe either through a cable, kung sa laptop you can use a cable or a Wi-Fi, or we use to also send or receive data through the system unit, back and forth to the mobile phone or to your laptop. So we have the two versions of our network, the intranet and the extranet. So we define first the intranet. It is for sharing information, communication within an organization. So easier communication tools, OS, and computing services within. So within, and pangabaga within, no access to outsiders or other outside networks, excluded for the access by outsiders. So in internet, usually these are the features of an internet. No? Access is limited only within that network. So collaboration is also within that network. No? The data is shared within. The same with communication, it is called also private network, and information is just collaborated across this network, but not accessed by outsiders. So in a opposite term naman, no, an extranet is a private network but allows access to partners, vendors, and suppliers by or unauthorized sets of customers. So normally it is to a subset of information accessible from an organization's intranet. So in this diagram, you can see that the internet is on the right side, but sa morning access nila, they use a firewall, and they connect to the internet server. Then this is the internet, and they also connect to the customer's network. For example, these are the user na to, no? For say sa internet na is the Facebook being internet within sa ilang company. And then the customers network, the left side, are us as users, no? Or user accounts connecting to the internet and connecting to their intranet. So basically, the whole process of this network connections, or what we call the intranet. So we define again the from the concept of internet na naghalinanda ang aton nga international network or what we call the internet. So it is a global system of interconnected computer networks that uses TCP/IP or the Internet Protocol suite in order to communicate between networks and devices. By wiki definition naman consists of network of networks by private, public, academic, business, government networks up to global scope. So they are linked in a broad array of electronic, wireless, and optical networking technologies. So it originated back in sa ARPANET, no, for as mentioned kanina to how the computer was also developed, no, the same commissioned by the research by the United States Department of Defense in the 1960s. The primary purpose initially was to enable time sharing computers by using this ARPANET network. It is the primary precursor network wherein the internet was developed. So using technology in our everyday life, we start with education. Also na pareho na isa gini ato yung best example nato or what we do currently here in our Google Meet class. So we use computer and internet to communicate and send information. So using computers as use amounts of data in a very small space, basically shrinking shelves of reference books down to a single flash drive. So, mga bagay sa flash drive na lang, but it can basically store, mga bagay, it can basically store all your notes, your digital notes, and also other reference nga documents that you would need sa imo nga pag-study mo or sa research mo. What we also have nga makabulig sa computer is having platforms that platforms of learning. For example, there have education websites wherein ang aton nga needed nga info depending for our course, for example, are easily accessed. Or among pagin example naton ang aton nga Neo LMS account. This is also a form of an education platform wherein we use computer technology in the internet to give out lectures, mga assignments, and exams. So in the same way as communication as developed, sa second naton nga everyday life naton nga benefit of having computers access. So instant communication is now a possibility. Instant communication everywhere. So better interaction naman nagdugang, as well as speed, reliability, the easy self-service, reaching a larger audience. Not only that, we also have several softwares for our communication, no? But it is also may mga company na gid na that provides na we can communicate in real time. For example, we have Facebook or sa Zoom or sa Skype wherein communication is better interaction. So maning mga benefits na gid naton na nagdugang na gid as the technology for computers continue to progress. So another advancement of technology, diagnostic tools naton sa aton health, so they can identify health problems early, improving the odds of successful life-saving treatments. And also the development of vaccines that has been incredibly effective. So it has the development basically naging mas dasig naging siya na develop as with the help of our computers na get to calculate ang research naton to develop these vaccines. And productivity is another benefit, since the ability of computers to solve complex mathematical equations has allowed them to speed up practically every task. So given na practicability of computers in giving productive sa output, no, Um, isa giniguro nga madugang naton is calculation sang equation for example sa specific use of the computers naton we have mathematical equations nga ginasolve for the for example for the research output. So ang development sining technology basically just letting them solve these equations at instant speed rather than having them solve it manual or using tabulation nga lain sa as compared to having a computer to automatically solve these equations. So as we look to the future of computers, no, it has become smaller and more mobile. At the same time na naging siya, naging mobile, but the speed and feature siya naging mas beneficial naging and has increased. So aton sa bang mobile devices na wireless na has become the norm. So that so that is why the importance of computer literacy, understanding them and their uses will become even more important as we continue to use them in the uh, everyday life natin yun. So we have this reference na no. So any questions so far of our first topic? Is, harap ako mo guys.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Basi na ko mo na Google ang sa ano.